Hi, I'm the belly button let you find after a long night of hooking. Dollar store knockoff, Trixie Mattel impersonator, Yvonne DeCulo.
And I'm your neighbor who you're not sure if it's a man or a woman, but you like him anyway, Jay Gloom.
And welcome to the Victory Lab, where we talk about whatever we want because it's our show and not yours. We've had the same comment twice that we're trying too hard to be like Trixie and Katya. That was my reaction.
Katya would not be caught dead looking this awful.
Welcome to the Victory Lab, where we discuss the latest episode of Season 2 of All-Stars of
Rupaul'S Drag Race.
I wish this dress was bigger because I would wear this all the time to gigs. Like, it's just so flowy, I don't even need to tuck. So this episode was a big lip sync extravaganza. However, I feel like this episode was completely and totally overshadowed by the hot mess train wreck that was Finding Prince Charming. So can we just talk about it for like literally 5 seconds?
Why? Ooh.
I'm hashtag flexible, but not like that. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, we can talk about All-Stars 2. So Tatiana is gone. How are you feeling about that?
Gone but not forgotten. I miss Tatiana.
I miss
liked
her already.
I liked having her back. I was worried, but you know what? The bitch brought it for me.
And she was a great lip syncer, so I think she would have done really well in this episode.
I think she would have too.
I really just wish that Roxy was not here. Sorry to all the Roxy fans out there. I just really think that she should have gone home. And I really didn't see any type of fire from her that she wanted to stay this episode. So the main challenge of this was the queens were going to be lip syncing to a spoken word extravaganza from some of the baddest bitches in history.
It was actually a really good
It
mix.
was a really
So,
good mix.
Bravo.
Damn. Each one of the queens was assigned a bad bitch before they got on the show, but they didn't know if it was a runway or a challenge look. So they all brought characters, and I'm so curious what the other girls that were eliminated would have gotten. But this type of mix really set it up so that anybody could be removed or added as the girls were eliminated. The only one who really was required to be there was Eve. And I don't know if that was just like a last minute decision that Alaska was given that, because she did make her outfit while she was in the workroom. It wasn't like something she pulled out of her stuff. So either that tells me that they knew Alaska was going to make it far enough, or they had prepared for her not to go home this early, or they gave it to her last minute. It was my thought.
Or they gave it to her because she won the previous week.
It's very possible that they gave her the intro.
So they were like, you won last week, so here, you get the Eve part.
Yeah, throw away whatever character you brought. So in this lip sync, who was your standout?
Alyssa.
Yeah.
Alyssa Edwards.
Alyssa was definitely my
I
standout
thought
too.
she did good.
She was so funny. Granted, she did have the very best part, I think, in the whole thing, but she sold it.
You know, I don't even know if it was that her part was the best.
I think she got the best choreo. I mean, she got to ride the fucking guy in the face and then shoot him. Like,
I think the thing is, like, I think they all got good choreo. I think the difference is Alyssa is a trained dancer.
yeah.
And so she was actually able to execute it
And make it look fluid.
extremely well. Which is also why she stood out during the entire lip sync, is that, you know, even the little choreo bits that they gave her, she could do very well.
She was selling it. I think also Ginger really stood out for me. I thought she had a really amazing part. I thought her
Yes.
lines were really funny. I thought she sold it really well. They were my standouts for this one. Was there anybody that you really didn't care for?
I didn't particularly care for Fifi's.
Really? I kind of enjoyed Fifi's.
Really, I just didn't see the point of it. It seemed a little too forced.
Too gimmicky.
Too gimmicky first, a little too forced. I thought Alaska didn't do that great.
Yeah,
Perfectly
my
honest.
bottom was Alaska this week. Like, I really didn't care for Katya. I thought she disappeared into the background, but I feel like that was just the nature of the role. It was kind of boring. Same with
Yes.
Eve, but I feel like Alaska didn't really know her words. Like, I kept seeing her, like, turning her head and doing that thing where, like, she took the breath before the dialogue was happening, and that's one of my biggest pet peeves with drag in any queen, is when you can tell when the line's about to happen because the queen's already taking their breath before, like, looking around waiting for it. You know, you can almost see that, like, them, like, reading it off the paper, like, oh, it's happening now. Oh,
my line.
you know?
I think Alaska stood out solely for the fact that she was the only one up there who was nude with giant hair. So by nature
With that
of
Britney look.
with that good Britney look, with a path on, and by that virtue, she's just gonna stand out. I do agree that Katya did get lost, but at the same time, it's like, how is she gonna stand out when you have all the other queens in these giant costumes. Even Fifi, who is in, you know, pretty much a variation of a hair I think she wore on her season. She still had that big armor piece, and like it was interesting to look at. Katya got Princess Diana, which is, you know, modern dresses and a short blonde feathered do. So like, just visually, Princess Diana is stunning, but you can't make a caricature of her. And
Yeah.
like the other girls could. Like, okay, Alyssa looked nothing like Annie Oakley.
No.
Nothing at all. The hair, even the hair, like, wasn't even close. But it was a caricature of Annie Oakley because
was
she
the drag
could do
version of
that.
her.
It was the drag version of Annie Oakley. Just like Ginger's was the drag version of her. All of their characters were drag versions. The only other person who didn't deliver like a drag version of their character was Roxy with her
True.
Ava Perón.
I forgot she was there.
Oh. I will say though that I think actually that Roxy had the best music bit. Hear me out. She had the funniest one to me, the whole I did it better than Madonna thing, because it's funny because if you don't know, Andrew Lloyd Webber wrote a musical about Ava Perón called Evita, which was made into a movie in the 90s starring Antonio Banderas and Madonna as Ava Perón. And to me, at least, maybe because I'm a musical theater geek, maybe because I do find Ava Perón's life fascinating, I thought Roxy got the best music segment.
Okay.
But she didn't deliver it.
She didn't sell it to me.
She
and
didn't.
that roach dress, what was that? Hated it.
Yeah, she had like on a nude dress, and it was supposed to have like black sequin like flower things on it, but they did just look like cockroaches from afar. She seemed flat, and I could see the choreography, you know, like the Evita, like, don't cry for me, Argentina. And even that, like, I thought she was gonna make bigger moments of it, but she just kind of like threw that off to the side for the sake of being kind of funny, which I didn't really care for.
I mean, this is the same type of scenario as what she did in her big, like, dance challenge from season 5, where she got RuPaul, someone who's iconic, and all she did for RuPaul was the crazy eye thing, and like literally the exact same type of move, and her eyes were like all cross-eyed. It was bad.
She wasn't able to deliver for me, and I don't think she was able to deliver the challenge, but for some reason they felt Katya did worse.
I mean, they're all given parts. It's not like they can make it more than what it is. They're not live singing it.
Katya's musically was the most boring.
It
felt
the
the
most
shortest, and it was the most vanilla of them all.
And it's like, all she did was slip off the camera. Like, this is just like Glamazonian Airways, where
Yes.
the one group clearly got the best one. It had raps, it had dirty jokes about going down, and then crazy, like, things for Jasmine to do. And then the other group literally got just a safety video.
Yeah, and it was vanilla.
A boring safety video.
So it's like, I think Roxy got the best part musically, but I think she totally
She flubbed
it. I think Katya got the worst part musically and did the best with it that she could.
Yeah.
I was very thankful though that even though they were pretty hard on Katya, that RuPaul pointed out it's like it's easy to really nitpick Katya's look because Princess Diana is so fresh in our minds.
We know what she looked like.
We knew what she looked like, and it's Princess Diana. You can't really make a caricature of her.
No.
Even Ava Perón, I mean, she's been made into a musical. She's had movies made about her. She was basically a drag queen herself, if you really get into it. Like, it would have been easy to make even her into a character. Roxy did. It did royally piss me off that they were like, it should have had the giant train. And it's like,
How is she supposed to
how
dance
is she going to
in
dance with that? How did you expect her to move around in a giant fucking train? Like, Katya was realistic. She looked at the dress, she looked at the giant train that was already on it, and then she looked at, you know, the fact that she's going to have to dance and move around the stage. She wouldn't have been able to move in it.
Yeah.
They, like, not with the choreography they gave her, and they wouldn't have changed the choreography for her dress.
No.
They would have told her, make it work. So short of, like, finding a way to, like, get the dress to, like, fold into itself and clip onto the back like a bustle that she could have, like, thrown off at some point, which isn't secure, could have come off any minute during the lip sync, there was nothing she could have done.
Totally.
So, much like they were unnecessarily harsh on Adore. I think they were unnecessarily harsh on Katya. I think they held her to an inappropriate standard compared to the other girls and to their characters. And I don't know, very rarely do I look at moments on Drag Race and say this was scripted. This felt very produced to me.
So then the runway was the future of drag. I was a little low-key disappointed that Fifi didn't show up in like a full Sharon Needles look and saying like her confessional, I'm the future of drag, the fucking future. You look 20 years ago. Would have died. Who was your favorite runway? Mine, absolutely hands down, is Fifi. Fifi's look was in my top 5 runways of all time on RuPaul's Drag Race. I think that was right up there. Like, I feel like Acid Betty took the #1 with that neon green runway because it took so much effort. But Fifi's look, it was just like head to toe, conceptual, cosplay queen, fierce, glamour, and I feel like she was kind of like channeling this pageantry kind of a thing with it. I don't know. It was so well thought out and so well put together. I loved every bit of it.
I like Detox's look a lot too, especially when I saw it in The Fifth Element.
Come through references. I thought Detox looked sickening. I mean, I did this purple on me and this took like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And they probably only had like 45 minutes to throw that together. So that's amazing.
I will give Detox that it was very impressive and I did enjoy it very much. I think actually my favorite was, I mean, I have to give Fifi props because hot damn, like everything about that look was crazy. The blaster, the armor, the full body paint. I really liked Alaska's, to be perfectly honest.
Hers was one of my least favorite because I loved it when I first saw it in the trailer and I was like, whoa, that's so cool. I love the makeup. I love everything about it. It's so different. But then I saw the whole thing and I don't know, I just didn't really love it as much as I did. So maybe I'm being more harsh on it because I loved it in the trailer. And then when I actually saw it in practicality, I'm like, ooh. It's the same with Acid Betty's Nude Illusion thing with that big metal thing that she had on side. When I saw that in the trailer, I was like, that is so cool. And then I saw it on the runway and I'm like, oh, I changed my mind.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then just the big long claw nails. I don't know.
I liked those weird, like, nail things. I love the hair. I love the eye makeup. I don't know. I thought it was really fun. And, like, they read her and they were like, well, you're Alaska 5000 from the planet Glamtron. I wanted more glamour. It's like, that's what she serves you every season.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you would have read, if she had come out in that, they would have been like, I just feel like this was easy for you. You're Alaska 500. You know, they would have said the exact same critique. So I thought it was.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah. I guess Fifi probably had the most out of the box one. I hated Roxy's. I hated Ginger's. I
hated most of them.
I hated Katya's. What am I forgetting?
Katya's was my absolute least favorite because her silhouette was so huge and it was unnecessary that she was that big. And I hated Ginger's. I hated the hair. I hated the makeup. I hated the outfit. It was just like, whatever future Roxy, Ginger, and Katya are coming from, I don't want to go there.
I don't want it.
I mean, I don't want to go to this one either, but I really don't want to go to that one.
The funny thing about this challenge was it was future of drag, and so they all just went obvious space age and silver, which
but
was
it's like
fine.
The future of drag is like bra and panties and hairy legs.
That's
like...
the thing. The future of drag is full body hair, full beard, expensive lace front wig, Sephora makeup, and then hot pants and a bra. That's the future of drag.
That's where drag is going right now. That's what I'm seeing more and more in the clubs is hairy queens who put
which is fine. Which is fine. I mean, totally fine.
I think certain types of body hair are okay. Like, I don't know. I'm very weird about body hair on a queen. I'm okay with facial hair to an extent. I just want it zhuzhed and glam. That's just me.
I think it depends on what illusion you're going for. If you're trying to give me woman and you've got body hair, then it's a problem. If you're going for that butch queen, masculine, bearded, hairy bear queen, have back hair, have arm hair, have pit hair, whatever. Have chest hair, for crying out loud. But it's like you have to be committed to one or the other.
I think we have a slightly different aesthetic. So the bottom two were Ginger and Katya. Katya, I completely understand. She flubbed in the challenge. Her runway wasn't that great. Ginger, I was totally shook by. Like, yes, her runway was horrendous, but she was really funny in the challenge. And I thought that Roxy did not do well in the challenge, and I didn't think her runway was that spectacular. And I personally feel like she should have been in the bottom instead of Ginger.
See, because yeah, here's the thing. If they're gonna get on Katya for like not doing enough for her look and being a little too pedestrian with the look, so was Roxy.
Totally.
Maybe Katya didn't go over the top with her stuff, but Roxy went too far.
Yeah.
And it looked messy. And they didn't like Roxy's look on the runway. They were bored by it. So I'm very confused why Roxy was not in the bottom and why there was no lipstick for Roxy. That is what confuses me the most.
Why there wasn't a third spot.
Why there wasn't a third spot, why there were only two for some unknown reason, and why if they were only going to do two, why it wasn't Katya and Roxy.
It should have been Katya and Roxy. Last week, I did say I would not mind if Ginger went home, but I think she really turned it out this week, and I think this is the first time in all of All Stars that I felt like Ginger wants to be here.
She did exponentially better in the lip sync than Roxy did, and Roxy's runway was not enough to save her.
No.
And Ginger's was not that bad. The hair was awful. That wig needs to burn. But the rest of the look was not that bad. So I'm very confused, and again, something about this whole episode just felt very produced.
Our top two was Alyssa and Detox, who I can totally 100% get behind.
Actually, I can totally 100% get behind Alyssa winning.
Okay.
I can totally get behind Detox's look being a top look. I don't think that Detox's performance was a top performance.
See, what I really liked about Detox's main challenge was that Detox did Marie Antoinette, but in Detox's like neon aesthetic. So it was like Detox took that character and made it hers. And that's what I thought was so fun about it, is it was a cool take on it, and I thought she did a really great job with the lip sync.
I don't know, like, I felt she just relied on...
I didn't see too much of the lip moving.
That's all I could see. I don't know, I wasn't floored by it, and they were like, it was so funny. And I was like, was it?
I thought it was fun. I mean, there's nobody else I would have put up there. I certainly would not have said that Alaska did best. I mean, Ginger was really great.
Ginger honestly,
was really great in the
honest
challenge.
to God, Ginger's performance in the challenge was the only one that was actually comparable to Alyssa's. Alyssa was the clear winner.
Yeah.
Well, see, this one's weird because Alyssa did the best in the lip sync, but her future drag was just a hot mess.
Yeah.
It was literally the entire future section of the Halloween store.
I want to know how they were judged.
Plus part of the Amazon section, plus some other
like
the
Vegas
dungeon,
showgirl,
Vegas showgirl, and then a few things from the Dungeons and Dragons section of the Halloween store. So like, her lip sync was the best, but her runway look, they didn't seem to like it.
No, they didn't.
But they loved Ginger's performance and didn't seem to like her dress, and yet Ginger ends up in the bottom.
Yeah, it was very strange, this whole episode. I want to know how they were judged.
I hate to say this, I actually didn't really care for this episode overall. And I was more intrigued by finding Prince Charming than I was the episode.
It just really overshadowed this whole episode.
Alyssa was the only... It just makes me mad that it's like, okay, we like your lip sync, but not your runway, but it's gonna get you in the top. We loved your lip sync, we hate your runway, and that's gonna put you in the bottom.
Yeah.
What?
Doesn't make sense.
What? Like, okay, Katya clearly deserved to be in the bottom.
She completely disappeared.
For her runway, and then for not taking bigger moments in the lip sync. But again, she was screwed over, so how could she have?
Unless she made Princess Diana completely different.
Unless she did like Lady Bunny as Princess Diana.
And they would have read
but then they would have read her for like, it doesn't look like Princess Diana. Okay, talk to Alyssa's wig and tell me that looks like Annie Oakley, who probably never had a blowout in her life. And you tell me that looks like Annie Oakley. Because I'm just flabbergasted, to be perfectly honest.
I was really offended that Ginger was in the bottom. So Alyssa wins the lip sync, which was, I feel like it was very well deserved. This lip sync song was not the best. It wasn't the most energetic, but I feel like Alyssa carried it. She had good energy, and I feel like Detox didn't really seem like she cared that much about it. Like, she kind of just flubbed at it, kind of like how I feel like Katya did the week before. Like, I feel like Detox really just didn't try that hard in this one. And I'm so curious who Detox picked. I can't wait for this next episode to find out. But Alyssa changed up the rules and sent home Ginger instead of Katya, even though Ginger got better critiques than Katya. Now, in my opinion, I feel like this was the right choice because Katya does have more to show, and she has been giving it every single episode. And like Alyssa said, just because you have one bad week doesn't mean you should go home. I mean, that was Alyssa's whole thing in her season, is that she was really great in certain challenges, and then other ones she just really didn't do that well. And it's like, does that warrant you going home though? And I feel like it wouldn't be fair to send home Katya right now when Ginger has been disappearing this whole season. And it's just like, people say, oh, it's the editing. But it's like, Ginger has a very big personality, but so do all these other girls. And, you know, it's just like...
You can't find a single snowflake in a snowstorm.
Exactly.
I think Alyssa made the right choice too. I know they're like, oh, she switched the game up. But I think Alyssa maybe understood what we're saying here is that Katya literally was given shit and told to make gold. And you can only do so much.
Yeah.
And so I still think it should have been Roxy in the bottom with her. I don't know why Roxy wasn't.
I feel like this is one of those moments that, like the dance challenge from season 7, where Trixie and Ginger got the only unfabulous number out of all of them, and then they were in the bottom.
Perfect example.
Trixie was a great dancer. She was amazing in her part. Ginger was amazing.
They did so well for what they were given, but they were told, but it wasn't enough because it was too hokey. It's like,
it was like, that's what they were given. They were given a camp number, and they camped it up.
Yeah, they did. They did the assignment. They understood the assignment and they embraced the materials. And you're gonna say it's not enough, and I feel like that's what they did to Katya. And for some reason, when Katya does it, it's unforgivable. When Roxy does it, it's you're safe.
Who do you want us to go home next?
I mean, I wouldn't be mad if Roxy went home, but I also wouldn't be totally miffed if Fifi went home, to be perfectly
I would not be
honest.
mad if Fifi went home either.
I do have to give a very big, very special shout out to Fifi this week for giving me the gift of the week.
Oh my gosh, that was the best. Also, I love how controversial she's being, that she won't even say GIF. She just spelled it out. That was my favorite thing. Also, I'm glad that she kind of talked about the kind of negativity that comes along with Drag Race.
Yeah.
And that the fans can be really brutal. And I'm glad that she addressed that, because it's not cool, like, getting death threats and just being threatened in general. Like, that's not okay and that's not right. Even if somebody's not, you know, the nicest person on the show, it doesn't say anything about who they are as a human being. They're in a competition.
Yeah, and I'm glad that Detox kind of apologized. I'm also glad Vicky Vox actually apologized to Fifi on Twitter, too.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good for her. Also, shout out to the editors for pulling out any mention of Willem, even though that's who we all knew
They literally
that
were
Detox
like,
was talking about.
Beep, beep.
Edit that out, edit that out, edit that out. So thank you all so much for watching this episode of the Victory Lap. Who do you want us to go home next week? What do you think about this elimination? Who do you think should have gone home instead if you disagree with it? Thank you so much for watching. We will see you all again next week if you want us to or not. Bye!